This week's scenario is Recon 2 from the 2017 Steamroller packet. This scenario does have Killbox Artifice in effect, and consists of flags which can be controlled for 1 CP by solos, warcasters, and warlocks, rectangular zones which can be controlled by war beast, war jacks, warcasters, and warlocks, and an objective which can be destroyed for 1 CP. Victory conditions consist of winning 5 more control points than your opponent or caster assassination.
Hello, this is Sidral, and today I will be playing Grymkin, the Dark Menagerie. Today the list is the Child, 3 Skinned Moans, Cage Rager, a Rattler, 2 Gorehounds, 1 Crabbit, 1 Death Knell, Lady Rose, 4 Swarms, and 1 minion of Dreadrots. And my Arcana today are Ruin, Labyrinth, and Wrath. With Ruin, it negates a spell but keeps the cost. Labyrinth is -2 to their speed. And Wrath is +1 to all Fury stats.
Hey everybody, this is Gaston, and today I'm playing Lord Carver, bringer of most massive destruction Esquire III, and the new minion Theme Force will work for food. I typically run Carver as a very battlegroup heavy warcaster, and I feel like a Theme Force like will work for food that is very focused on war beasts would be a very good pairing and match for him and his playstyle. Going into the CID releases, the only changes that I'd really make to this list come January would be to replace Targ with the Gatorman Soul Slave, and to replace the Bog Trog Misspeaker with Quack and Gub. I feel like the Soul Slave actually brings a lot to Carver that Targ maybe can't, in that you can upkeep Quagmire, as well as you can start casting out Rift. So I think it opens up a lot of the spell lists that he previously has only been using the 2 spells, Batten Down the Hatches and Mobility.
And with winning the dice roll, I decided to go first. I felt that if I didn't go first, I wasn't going to have much of a board presence with Mobility and his theme. My biggest concern at the moment is that he's already out-threatening me by 1 inch for each of his war beasts, to where even with abuse, I can only get 1 war beast, if not 2, by upkeeping the spell and then moving on to another one. And even that, at this point, I would just be throwing away war beasts. And again, most of the time you'll see me stopping and either putting my tape measure down or double checking the cards. This entire time I'm thinking I need to be able to give him something in order to pull him closer to me, since I won't be able to out-threat him at the moment. But at the same time, not give him too much that I just start losing my army quicker than I can actually use the models.
Unfortunately, I lost the roll to go first, so I did not get to make a lot of use of the theme benefit that grants you +2 speed. However, one of the other side benefits of this theme is that you get to run for free on turn 1. And with the large amount of war beasts I have in Carvel's battle group, that actually helps me a lot to deal with the management of my Fury, especially on turn 1. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get a little bit too clever for my own good. I'm thinking about running a Warhog up and then assaulting with a Roadhog to try to spray on his light beast, whatever it's called, the Rattler, I think. So I'm trying to position it so the Warhog runs up, and then the Roadhog assaults and kind of bumps into him and just gets a spray, and everyone stays out of charge range. Realistically, I just kind of abandoned that plan because it's getting to be a bit much. So what we're doing is we're baiting a little bit with the Roadhog. So I am making sure that I am out of range of the Skin and Moans, which is very important to me. But I am probably in range of his 2 light, the Gorehound up top and the Rattler on the bottom. And that's just something I'm going to have to tank on my own using, Batten Down the Hatches. Now something that is of concern to me is I believe the Cage Rager's Animus gives him Blessed. So he's actually going to, if he ever gets to apply that, take advantage of the -2 defense, but I don't get the bonus of the +3 armor. So that's just something to have to watch out for.
And of course, he decides to stay out of my threat range, even with the Skin and Moans on abuse. Right now, I'm thinking, how can I have him come out without me giving out too many of my points? With Apparition, I just moved the Gremlin Swarm just a little bit further. Now, not really having little to any playtime with the child or with Grymkin, this being my first time with the child and my third game with Grymkin. At this point, I really don't have a plan on how to get him out other than sending 1 or 2 models up to the front line to hopefully not take as big of a hit. I'm thinking if I can, some way of getting him a Warhog closer to me, I can use the Enraged Skin and Moans. And really, there's only one model that I can get up there right now and still attack, which would be the Gorehound. After rolling Abuse, I think I only took like a point. And the casting Tantrum and Discord on the Skin and Moans that was already enraged. And at this point, I'm thinking, great, I can charge the Warhog, I can pull the Warhog with the Gorehound's Bite, and then with the Skin and Moans, he will be just close enough to charge the Warhog and hopefully kill it, and then have the Dreadrots run around and protect whatever I can from the Skin and Moans. But of course, saying that you can only pull equal or smaller, that did not happen. I got into the habit with the Sep from Crix that with it being a huge base, I didn't really have to worry about pulling anything else. So completely forgetting, I decided might as well get my money's worth and just go all out. And that also gives me Fury that I can later on use with me being Hordes. And of course, I think I only ended up doing 1 point of damage on the charge attack. And now I am trying to cover my ass from that horrible mistake. Thinking, well, I can just use the Dreadrots to kind of tar pit in front of my Skin and Moans. And I feel like at this point, this is where it kind of goes a little downhill from Grymkin. And now with the bomb side, all I really can do is not put too much in front of him to where he can charge and kill me. So trying to keep a little bit far back, but keeping the death knell close enough that I can actually collect corpse.
So after a relatively pedestrian turn 1, it's time to really get into action. I'm thinking this is likely going to be my feet turn, and then I'm going to want to focus on the top half of the table, because I feel like that's where I'm strongest and he's weakest, in the sense that I have 2 heavies up there, he only really has a heavy and a couple of lights, versus down at the bottom half of the table, where he has 3 heavies, he has his battle engine, and that's going to be pretty tough for me to crack. So one of the other things that I'm being very careful about is not triggering his Arcana. When I play into Grymkin, I've actually struggled a little bit, which is kind of surprising to me, because statistically, looking at the stats and everything they can do, there's nothing there that's particularly unreasonable, but I have this habit of popping the wrong Arcana at the wrong time and just shooting myself in the foot. So I'm trying to be very, very careful about that. The other thing that I've done is that I'm starting to hand out magical weapons, so I can start working on clearing out the Gremlin Swarms. There's a Gremlin Swarm up there that's blocking my charge lane from the Roadhog to the Skin and Moans. So I bring Orin around, he pops a Dreadrot with an Arc Lightning, and that actually leaps over and kills off the Gremlin Swarm, as well as 2 other Dreadrots, and it knocks down a third. So that was a great Electro Leap. I love Orin because of the counter magic that he provides, especially against a child, where Force Hammer just continues to ruin my day all the time. But also because of the Electro Leaps and the abilities that he brings there. So Carver's going to activate, he's going to go ahead, he's going to cast Mobility, and then he is going to cast Quagmire onto the Roadhog over there. And then he's going to pop his feet. he goes ahead, he aims, he takes a shotgun, double barrel shotgun shot at the Gorehound and unceremoniously misses. Good job, buddy. But I didn't really feel the need to focus on doing batten down the hatches this turn, just because of the idea that I'm going to be sending my heavies in there, they're going to be primaled, I'm probably going to lose them anyway. So I might as well put Quagmire on the Roadhog, move him up, he now makes the Gorehound -2 defense, and he's able to kill it. And he is far enough back that there's no way he can trigger any of the Arcana that I care about, the one in particular being Labyrinth, which would make my army -2 speed. So now the Roadhog, he's going to go ahead, and I'm trying to line him up for a fun spray with Lightning Strike and Targ and Ancillary Attack. And again, it's just, you know, a little bit of a reach too far, so I just kind of don't worry too much about it. Otherwise, go ahead, primal up the blue Warhog, and then we are going to go ahead and have Lanyssa move on up, and she is going to tag the Skin and Moans. We're just going to make sure that I can successfully charge, there's no problem with the building, and she will hit him with Hunter's Mark. Again, I feel like Lanyssa is a little bit more useful on the top half of the board, because the Cage Rager is on the bottom half, and I don't like the fact that he can cancel my spells. That's very not nice to me. So send in the Warhog. It's primal, it's Carver's feet turn. He really has no issue at all splattering that Skin and Moans. Particularly, I believe the Skin and Moans is still only on one corpse, so his armor is not as high as it could be. So after he's done splattering that, he goes around, he turns onto the Rattler. I believe my opponent triggers Wrath, which is fine, I'm going to lose my beasts anyway. It's the child, it's like a truck. So it goes on, turns on the Rattler with the Overtake, and just obliterates the Rattler. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So then he turns on the Dreadrot, overtakes onto him, and eats him, and overtakes again, and smacks the next Dreadrot, and he makes a tough check and I'm out of attacks. So that was a really, really good activation for that Warhog. He killed himself a heavy, a light, a couple weapon masters. Not too shabby at all. So now going down to the bottom half of the table, is my feet turn, I want to make the most out of it. So go ahead, we're going to move on up, we're going to primal my second Warhog, and then we're going to send him in. And he's going to be able to charge through the Gremlin Swarm, because they are incorporeal, and he's just going to start smacking on that Skin and Moans. Now I believe this one is slightly tougher in that the other one may not have been in range of the Death Knell, I can't remember. But either way, we're able to take the Skin and Moans out, overtake on up, and then start buying attacks on the Death Knell. So just making sure that as I overtake, I stay on my feet, so I get my boosted damage. And we are going to go ahead and take the Death Knell itself down to 5 health, which is really, really good. Unfortunately for me, I can't finish it off this turn, and I checked the measurements on Targ, it's just too far away. So we're going to leave it on 5 health, which is sad for me, but what can you do? So now I'm just trying to keep the momentum going and get this Roadhog in onto his other Gorehound just by walking him in, taking advantage of mobility. And the trick there will be is that while he's starting in Carver's control, he's not going to be able to end there. So going forward with that, what we're looking to do is have Targ run around, and so he's going to be able to keep me so I can force and do what I need to do there, but I will not get advantage of the feet. So, but that Roadhog, he's just going to go on in, and he's just going to chow 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 on that Gorehound. I boost to hit with the Tusks, and I fail horribly on all those boosts to get the crit knockdown, but with my third attack, I'm able to just kill the Gorehound thanks to good damage dice and Lightning Strike on back after I take my overtake as well. So my Roadhog will be nice and happy there. And just, you know, getting a little bit more on the attrition game and having things nice and safe and away from his army, but, you know, just whittling him down bit by bit. Then I also move my Gremlin Swarm on up onto the flag so I can start scoring some control points, put a little bit of scenario pressure on him. It's one of those things where you should always have the scenario pressure because you never know when it's going to come in handy. And then we're just going to walk my other Warhog on over, so he'll be in threatening position as well, but out of threat range of the Skin and Moans.
So yeah, I may have lost a model or two throughout this entire turn. I probably should have popped Labyrinth instead when his first Warthog charged the Skid and Moans after his little caster, his little mage man chain lightning them. But I figured he's probably going to send at least 2, maybe 3 of his heavies in at me. And with the child's Arcana, her base Arcana, I should be able to clear out whoever's in front of me. Right now I'm just trying to do damage control since that top Warthog is going to Frenzy. So make sure that one of the lantern, or not the lantern, the pumpkins are close enough that he'll be able to charge him just in case if I send anything else up there. I think I only hit him for like 2 or 3 damage. Then I move in with the Death Knell to attack the Warthog. Telling myself that I had finished her, I probably should have sent in the Cage Rager in to do some damage, and then that would allow my Death Knell to finish up if there was anything left. Else I'd send to send the Crabbit, because who doesn't love a fluffy little death bunny from hell? At this point, I don't really feel like I have much I can do, so I'm just trying to clear out what's in my face and then try to prepare for the next round of charging bacon. Death Knell easily takes him down with, or not Death Knell, I'm sorry, the Skin and Moans easily takes down the Warthog with 3 corpse tokens on top. Then I end up moving, I believe it was one of the Gremlin Swarms across. And then since the Cage, not the Cage Raider, the Skin and Moans couldn't pick up the corpse token, it was given to Death Knell. I'm trying to prevent that Warthog to do too much, or any other model up there to do too much with the Gremlin. Now I'm just trying to protect the Death Knell because that +2 armor bubble is really the only thing that can save me right now. So the Cage Rager is going to run up and try and get Carver in, but I didn't think he was. And then that's when my opponent kindly reminded me that Orin can just say no to any magic, so there's not going to be any balls of fire. Child moves up. Depending on, I already had planned to move up there and shoot a spell, so I figured, might as well move closer. This way I can trigger as well either Ruin or Labyrinth. Most likely Labyrinth because he still has 2-3 heavies left, and that will slow him down a bit more. At this time, Lady Rose is running up just to hold that flag for me.
I start this turn off with a lot of frenzy checks to do. I typically don't really bring any fury management in my lists, and I just spend fury like it's going out of style. I figure I need to do what I need to do this turn, and if I even survive to next turn, then I'll worry about the consequences there. So I've got I believe I have the Roadhog, Ghost Frenzy on a Gremlin Swarm on the bottom, and the Battle Boar should have frenzied, except I rolled really low and he decided not to. So he's just gonna not frenzy for a change. Otherwise, I had actually planned on having the Gremlin Swarm right next to him for him to have a frenzy target that he can't really hurt. But the downside to my frenzies is that he is able to pop another Arcana that actually does make me -2 speed. So the goal now is that I'll be able to overcome that with a combination of Lanyssa and mobility as needed. Otherwise, we have the Warhog on top. He also frenzied. He killed a Dreadrot, which is fine. It's really good that I actually did not end up peace trading him, But one of the things you have to be careful about with Primal is you end up with that kind of that pause in tempo, where you hit him, and if he doesn't clear it out, then you kind of take care of yourself for a turn with that automatic frenzy. One of the things that I'm trying to work out on the top half of the table is how to clear out that zone. I'd really like to give the Roadhog Magical, have him assault and kill off Lady Karianna as well as that Gremlin Swarm. But then I can't find an angle that I like where he can then overtake and get to the Dreadrots and actually like chomp his way through and clear the zone. So I kind of end up letting that one go and deciding to just focus on the attrition game some more on the bottom side of the table. My goal obviously being to send a Warhog in and kill off the Cage Rager. Now because the Cage Rager has a corpse on him, Lanyssa cannot put the her spell on him because he can just cancel it. So I actually mathed it out before I send the Warhog in, and he should statistically just barely kill the Cage Rager. And he actually lives up to statistics and just barely with his last attack manages to kill the Cage Rager. So that worked out pretty well. He does hurt himself a little bit for the extra strength, which was one of his fury right there. Otherwise we have Orin. He's going to walk over, he's just going to try to raw dog a shot onto that Gremlin Swarm, and he will miss. So, naughty Orin, very naughty. But the goal with him is to leave that point of magic power focus token on him in order to cancel any spells that the child might cast my way. Otherwise, we can still bring over the Mistpeaker onto the Roadhog and have Targ Ancillary spray him onto the Gremlin Swarm, which is what we're doing right now. And that will, of course, miss. So, yeah, that Gremlin Swarm's going to contest. I hate those things. Hate them so much. So, in retaliation, I send my Gremlin Swarm up to contest, and, screw you, buddy. Sorry. Otherwise, just have my Roadhog. He's nudging himself on over, and he's laying up a spray, and he's going to take care of the remaining Dreadrots. I realize the goal of the Dreadrots in the list is to feed the Death Knell, but I can't help myself. I keep killing them. It's what I do. Otherwise, Carver, whenever he activated in this turn, put up mobility and batten down the hatches, so everything is armor 21.
So just like I thought, most of my stuff is gone. Well, most of the remaining stuff is gone again. Right now, Tantrum has been activated. Well, it was activated during his turn, but I am deciding on what model to use it on. Assuming or double checking that I am out of reach from his Warlock with the skin and moans with everything I can put on him. I won't be able to get there. Probably spend about like an hour honestly trying to think who to move. And while not just standing there looking at the board the entire time, decided to just go ahead and move with the gremlins and make sure that the one on the bottom is still contesting the his flag. He did move his Gremlin Swarm up top because he wanted to be a jerk like that and not give me my 1 point. Going back and forth debating if I want to move the Skin and Moans to try and clear out the, I want to say Roadhog? No, not Roadhog. Flamethrower Pig as well, or try to take out Orin and the solo. But I remember that I do not have magic weapons currently, so decided against that. Then I just decided, screw it, I'll just move Child forward. Originally I was going to move Child forward, throw the hog away, because I have nothing on that side that can deal with the hog. But realizing that it's not a war beast, it just looks like a war beast. I attempt to do the crit pitch, and I believe it was on the second attack that I bought. I was able to boost and get the crit pitch, and with, I believe it's batten down the hatches. Both his war beasts cannot be knocked down, which is fine. I just don't want bacon in my face. So there are currently 2 of the gremlins in front of the child right now to have some sort of blockade. Now with the Crabbit, originally I was gonna put him up in front with the swarm. Instead, I try and move him closer to the Roadhog just so he would have to move out and not aim and spray down the line since he is now in combat. The Death Knell ends up charging the Warhog on the bottom. With Finisher, he was able to do a little bit. And I decided to heal one at a time, seeing which ones are, what models can still gain his aura. And I originally was going to leave all 3, the child, the 2 swarms in it. But if he can already hit the swarms, he's going to be able to kill them. So I say, screw it, I'll just keep the child in. And I think I only healed, I was spending 4 corpse tokens and healing like 4 points at most, 4 or 5 points only. The gremlin, not the gremlin, I'm sorry, the skin and Moans at the bottom just starts pounding against the Warhog and is able to kill him.
One of the goals going into this game was to use my ability to generate long threat ranges to kind of counteract the child's ability and to really get up ahead on the peace trade. Going into it, I had worked out that on the feet turn, a Roadhog can very reasonably kill off a Skin and Moans, and then you're going to have a Roadhog in your face to deal with. So I've been doing pretty well, I think, going up on peace trade. He's now down to 1 heavy, and the child who's functionally a heavy, versus my 3. Additionally, he's kind of left the child in a position where I think I can get off a pretty reasonable assassination. The one thing that's really kind of messing with me is I'd love to cast Quagmire onto my Gremlin Swarm and then run it base to base with the child to get the -2 defense. He still has the Rune Arcana, and so I'm trying to learn from my mistakes and not shoot myself in the foot here. And I'm working on baiting that out. The other thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to finish off the Death Knell. He had healed it up. He rolled relatively poorly. I think he got it up to 10 wounds total. So I'm sitting in my Warhog at dice -5. He should, without Primal, theoretically get rid of it. And the reason I did not Primal was so that I could keep enough Fury onto Carver where he can cast Quagmire twice if he pops Ruin to get rid of Quagmire. So that was my goal there. So I'm starting to go with Midwinter. I'm using spells. I'm trying to bait out Ruin. He ends up killing off one of the Gremlin Swarms, and I believe he leaves the other one on 1 health, it seems right. Then I'm going to go ahead and activate Lanyssa, and she is going to attempt to do what she needs to do onto the child, which is Hunter's Mark, so that way I get some free charges. And again, this is just another spell. One of the things, ironically, that Orin did is he actually damaged the child, so go figure. Lanyssa goes and he actually pops Ruin, so he cancels Hunter's Mark, but now I'm in a good spot with Carver where I don't have to worry about double casting Quagmire. So Carver's going to activate. He's going to spend 3 from ability, using a proxy base here to make sure I get in range of the Gremlin Swarm for Quagmire, and he's going to go ahead and he's going to charge the child. Unfortunately, due to annoyance from the remaining Gremlin Swarm who's actually hidden by the building, I actually missed the child, so go figure. I am able to get my Quagmire up, and then he goes ahead and he kills that second Gremlin Swarm just out of spite. So with that done, the child is now -2 defense. I bring over the first battle Boar. He goes ahead and he primals the Warhog. The Warhog is speed 7. He walks up, he smacks the child, does some damage, and then I learn that the child has Retaliatory Strike because I am awesome. So the child will smack me back, and he will knock out the spirit and the mind. So I'm down to just my final 2 initials. I can't force anymore. So I actually managed to hit on a 3 on the second one and do a little bit more damage. I believe he transferred that off. So then I go ahead and I primal up the Battle Boar. I send in, I'm going to name him Plan B, which is the Roadhog. He goes ahead, he takes a free strike from the Crabbit. Then doesn't mind, doesn't really hurt anything. and then he's going to bring it home. He's going to kill off the child. I hope you all enjoyed this. I think Carver works great with Bulwark for food, and I think it's a very strong list. Thank you for watching.
So yeah, Gremlin do take a loss today. I can't really expect much with having 2 heavy war beasts in front of my face, but it was still a fun game. It's always fun playing with Gaston when we do get a chance. Definitely should play a lot more games. Trying to. I think the list was fine. I probably should send one more skin Moans up top to help deal, since most of the top is what got handled or got killed off first. I never thought I would say this, but apparently there is a such thing as having too much bacon, and I tip my hat off to you, Gaston.